our game is a love letter to rock and roll and a tribute to the electric guitar, built by people who grew up and made, you know, Guitar Hero and Rock Band.
If you're making a music game, you definitely want Marcus Henderson on your lineup. Not only is he a former touring musician, if you played the original 2 Guitar Heroes, you'll have played along to his work as he re-recorded some of the tracks of the game. Since those days, Henderson has produced a variety of music games.
If it has to do with video games and guitar, seemingly I'm somehow Forrest Gumping my way into these situations where I can somehow contribute to amazing teams. And the incredible folks over at Another Way and Vertigo saw some value in what I could offer.
But Vertigo and Another Way aren't just making another Guitar Hero clone. Their game, Unplugged, doesn't give you plastic guitars or drum kits, but instead uses a VR headset to track your fingers for a unique air guitar experience. What was it about the project when you first saw it that spoke to you, having already worked on Guitar Hero?
It was almost like a dramatic light being like, oh, like I saw it and I immediately understood and got exactly where this game was going. And I was not only intrigued, but I was blown away at the technical capabilities of the hand tracking technology, you know, releasing a really amazing guitar based rhythm game on a platform that really had nothing like it before. So all of it was really new, and all of it struck me as very similar to the feelings that I had when I first saw Guitar Hero, which was there's something here.
As amazing as finger tracking may be, it doesn't give you the tactile accuracy of a controller. So how does this compare to making a Guitar Hero game?
Well, they're two different animals completely. I mean, Guitar Hero was a super accurate experience, and every single note was accounted for. And I mean, some of the level designs were, you know, just incredibly fun to play. The technology for VR and the tracking system that we have in place for, you know, matching fingers with the notes is slightly different. And as such, we have to play to the strengths of the game engine and ensure that we've got a balance of really exciting gameplay without having to make people grind for a great experience. You're looking at a different sort of code for how to establish what a really good map is, note chart for a song. And you know, it lends itself to a different experience altogether when you have you know, a less finger individual accurate experience as it is to just really distilling the fun of playing air guitar through gestures. And so we're able to do a lot of things that Guitar Hero can't or wasn't able to do just because we're playing to the strengths of the technology. And it's presented some really fun challenges to overcome. And yeah, I think it's worked out great.
I suppose that kind of splits off into two questions. You know, one about like the confidence that you guys have in that hand tracking technology and how far you're able to push it, and then also the tracks that you look for, because obviously like the iconic Guitar Hero or Rock Band track is like, you know, Dragon Force or something like that, and that really is that super accurate, very dexterous experience. So the two questions then are like, what do you look for in a unplugged track? How far do you push that finger tracking in the gameplay?
Well, when we look for a track, I think from my perspective, I look for something that would be something that you would play on air guitar by yourself. Like, we are distilling an experience. Air guitar in its own form is a form of entertainment, right? So when you listen to any Iron Maiden, Black Sabbath, any rock tune, or any song at all that compels you to just start like doing wild gesticulations and rocking out, that's a very primal feeling, a very raw rock and roll experience. And for us, it's more about just getting into the groove of the experience of the music and feeling it than it is stressing and concentrating on a million notes and accuracy and full combos and all this other stuff. Now, the scoring is extremely accurate in our game, and it's definitely a primary component since we have leaderboards. And there's all of the standard gamification elements inside of air guitar, but we do not look for songs that are going to make you want to throw the controller across the room. We want you to have fun. We want to be able to scale up the difficulty across all settings. But essentially, at the end of the day, since we're using hand tracking technology, we've integrated a lot of gesture-based scoring elements into the game. So, you can enhance your score by flashing horns and getting the crowd ready. And we encourage people to rock out, and that is to essentially distill the feeling of playing air guitar. It should be analogous to the raw fun of doing air guitar as opposed to standing on stage. I mean, when you're playing heavy technical music, let's just say that you're a technical death metal guitar player, just for example, or a progressive rock guitar player, or jazz fusion or whatever. A lot of that is just you kind of individually staring at your fretboard, not really moving, and there's not a lot of entertainment value in that. We wanted to make a game that exemplified the art of the wild, over-the-top expressionism of air guitar and how it relates to rock and music fans in general, to pay tribute to their favorite bands by acting out the motions of what we feel good about doing in music, as opposed to sitting there and grinding through a million notes.
There have been games that like music VR games that want to go for the you're on stage and here's a crowd experience. Is that something that you guys are going for? And if not, what direction did you take?
Well, yeah. So essentially, the story of our game is you are on stage and you are performing in front of people who are reacting in real time to your performance. So if you're doing well, the dynamic lighting changes, more people get excited, you'll see a reaction. If you do poorly, certain things are going to come your way. You're going to be experiencing the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat, sometimes in the same song. So we wanted to make it a fun reduction of what it's like to be on stage, but essentially our game is less about a real life guitar simulator than it is a gig simulator. And since rock and roll and metal and all of that is live performance in general is very much a over the top experience, where anything can happen, we wanted to present those elements of surprise for you.
Are you able to give me a visual representation of how your hands will be acting in like one of the game's hardest songs? Is it going to be or is it going to be more like
so there's a lot of movement on the fretboard. If you've seen some of the UI right now, you've got different zones where your hands are going to go. So we're simulating kind of going from one end of the fretboard all the way to the other fretboard with really engaging, super exciting note charts that are challenging, but still allow you to get into the zone and perform, because performing is another, big part of our game. Performing gets the crowd excited. Performing and catching the power-ups is another part of it. There's mini games in the songs as you go as well. So we wanted to get people to focus on sort of their stage environment, playing to the crowd and getting them excited, because that enhances your scoring. So we're never going to ask players to do, these wide 12 fret stretches or anything super crazy. We want people to stay engaged in the performance whilst trusting their hands and trusting the note chart and just sort of reacting to the note highway, as opposed to just losing, all of your peripheral grinding on one particular point of view.
You kind of already touched on this a little bit, but I wasn't expecting like kind of the note signs and stuff. And one of the things I was going to ask is do you think players just have more room for personality in this game and like to bring some of themselves into their performance? And from what you're saying, it kind of sounds like it does.
Absolutely. I mean, and that once again preserves the spirit of expression and music, live music, rock and roll in particular. I mean, our game is a love letter to rock and roll and a tribute to the electric guitar, built by people who grew up and made, Guitar Hero and Rock Band. So we wanted to take elements of the things that we loved about those classic rhythm games and introduce a new physicality and performance-based element that VR, basically lends itself to. So there's all of the good things that we loved about, the scoring mechanic and the general game mechanic inside of the rhythm games. It's air Guitar Hero, essentially. You're seeing the notes come down a highway, you react, it's a rhythm game. But in Guitar Hero or Rock Band, you're not able to do gestures and to catch things that are coming at you, or to grab power ups, or encourage a deeper physicality to your performance, which is going to enhance the scoring. So a lot of VR games, especially the popular VR rhythm games, are very physical, and we wanted to sort of pay homage to the physicality of the technology whilst remaining true to the spirit of the rhythm game that we are familiar with and know people really want to play on that platform.
All right, let's talk tracks. We asked Marcus to give us a breakdown of what to expect.
We are using the original master tracks as approved by the artists themselves, and we have some of the best hand-curated songs specifically tailored to the technology that we're working with. So everything was carefully selected. I introduced some songs to the team that I thought would be incredibly valuable into the game. The team already had a vision for what they thought would be perfect, and we all just kind of coalesced together and made what I think is probably one of the best set lists in any rhythm game ever produced.
Well, we tried to get the songs out of him at least. To be fair, Henderson is just as eager to share more about the set list as we are to hear it. Is it going to be a set list that's lots of older songs? Is there going to be some newer stuff in there? Because obviously when you think of air guitar and you think of like the genre, like your mind immediately runs back to tracks that are 30 to 40 years old. And I'm sure many of those are in there, but is there newer stuff as well? I'd love to know.
Oh, tons. Yeah, so we didn't focus group what we thought would be popular for people. We all kind of collectively, instinctively knew what was going to work in relationship to the strengths of the tech. But we also didn't want to, front load it with tons of songs that, people would not necessarily be interested in replaying over certain difficulties. So I'd like to say that without releasing any names, we have a perfect balance of modern indie rock, classic metal, classic rock, time-tested music that you've probably heard a million times, but just haven't played in this particular way. So we were very, very careful not to create an imbalance with genres or eras. So, I mean, as long as we held down to that theory that it plays to the strengths of the engine, it's super fun and compelling to play, it will have replayability value, and it's familiar to the millions of fans of this band all over the world, and everybody agrees that it's a fun song to play, then that's what would make a perfect unplugged air guitar song for the game. And you've been holding this secret for so long, and the days are coming closer and closer to Christmas or something, and you're just like, oh my God, I want to share this so much, but it's just, I can't give you the information that you want yet, but I cannot wait to share it with you. That's how we all are right now. We're super excited. It's been an absolute pleasure and an honor to work among some of the smartest and most brilliant game designers that I've ever had a chance to work with. And we honestly cannot wait for guys like you and fans of the game and fans of rhythm games in general to put on the headset and just tear it up.
We'll have much more on Unplugged, including the reveal of the release date and tracklist for the game later this month on Upload Access. Head to the article in the link below to find out more.